us. So Ayushi is a health coach at Sugarfit, and she's also done her master's in food science and nutrition. And she has lots of clients here in Sugarfit who have reversed their diabetes and have seen tremendous results. So she'll be here to talk to you all about, circadian rhythm and all about it. So if you have any questions as well about the topic or anything, please go ahead and leave all of that in the comment section as well, and we'll be answering them towards the end of the session. So Ayushi, all over to you. Please go ahead and take over the session.
Thank you, Shifa. So hi everyone. I'm Ayushi Kamboj. I'm health coach at Sugarfit. And today we are going to talk about circadian rhythm, right? I'm going to share my screen and just let me know if you are able to see it, Shifa, right? Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible now.
Okay, so, before we begin, of course, you can just put all your doubts and queries in the comment section. We'll try and address to all of them, right? Now talking about circadian rhythm. So what does it mean, right? And how it is actually involved in your metabolic health. That is what we are going to discuss today. Now, to put it simply into words, circadian rhythm is nothing but, your body's natural clock, right? It is simply how your body's natural hormone levels change at different time during the day, right? So when we speak about circadian rhythm, it is actually regulated by hypothalamic suprachiasmatic nucleus in the body. Right. And why it is important? What is the importance of circadian rhythm? And off lately, it has been very well seen that everyone on the internet is talking about it, and people have started improving their lifestyle. They have started rising before sunrise in the morning, and they try and take their meals before sun goes down in the evening. What is the significance of it? How does it help? What is the significance is? It really helps in regulating your sleep and your wake up cycle. It helps in regulating your hormones, which is actually very important in your metabolic health. Thirdly, it helps in regulating your body temperature. And lastly, it is very much involved in your eating and digestion. Yeah. We'll get to these one by one, and I'll explain you how the circadian rhythm, how the time you sleep and the time you wake up is actually involved in all of these. Yeah. But firstly, let's check our score, right? So if you spend time in the sun daily, of course, you can just add on these scores. How many of you spend time in the sun daily, exercise regularly, keep away electronic devices before bedtime? Now, this is something which we are really challenging with nowadays, because all of us have a habit of, scrolling through Facebook, Instagram Reels, and maybe, watching some web series right before we go to bed at night, right? So how many of you are actually staying off the devices at bedtime? And the next one is again something which I have seen that people really struggle with, which is avoiding tea and coffee in the evening, right? So we are usually very habitual to our evening tea, coffee, and once we come back from office or from work, or anyways, if we are staying at home also, evening tea and coffee is something which is absolutely present in everyone's routine, right? If you are avoiding that in the evening, you can add on one score. And sleep in a quiet, dark environment. How many of us do that? So any one of you, if you have achieved 5 on 5, that is really, very impressive. You can just post in the comment section that you have achieved this score, and probably we'll connect with you towards end of the session. Yeah. Okay, moving on. So what are the factors which impact your circadian rhythm, right? And why we are looking at these factors? Because as I said, if your body's natural clock is impacted, it will lead to hormonal imbalances, it will lead to poor metabolic health, it will lead to many digestion and eating disorders, and it will actually, all of these will impact your health in a way. It might not impact in 1 year, 2 year, but the long-term impact can be very, I would say, very counterproductive for your health, right? So which are the factors which impact circadian rhythm? The first one is work shifts with erratic hours. Now, this is, something which all of us are struggling with. We all have been working in, kind of an environment wherein the work is actually, it goes up to 1, 2, 3 a.m. at night also some days, right? And this is actually very crucial for people working in night shift. They might be in the US shift. Now, what I have personally seen is I have had this user in Sugarfit only, wherein he used to work in night shift, and all the time, no matter what we do in terms of diet, exercise, all the time his sugar levels were above 200. And this was a very young person, 35-year-old, and he was working in the night shift, US shift, and his levels were beyond 200, right? So what we did was we did one experiment with him, wherein it was a Christmas holidays, so he got 1 week off. In that 1 week off, I asked him to, fix up his sleeping schedule. He slept throughout the night, and then he woke up in the morning. And what we have seen in his glucose levels is, at that point of time, his fasting levels were under 100 and his PP levels were under 140. So this is actually what happens when you go against nature, when you go against body's natural clock. We have had many users who are very young, 30-year-olds, 32-year-olds, and they're diabetics. Why? Only because of this factor that they have worked for, say, 10 years, 7 years, 5 years in a company in a night shift, right? So this is what happens when we compromise on sleep, because your body is naturally set to sleep at night. And when you are not doing that, the morning sleep is not a very sound one, because everyone else will be awake, right? So it will be a disturbed sleep. Your body will not be well rested and it will lead to hormonal imbalances, right? Okay, next one is, of course, the travel that spans the course of one or more different time zones. So if you are traveling overseas, then you'll be jet lagged, and if you are frequent traveler, then that can really disturb your body's circadian rhythm, right? The third one is a poor quality sleep, or sleeping conditions like insomnia. So a lot of senior citizens, they actually struggle with poor sleep quality and insomnia. And we say that one of the strong pillars of diabetic management is sleep, right? It is often ignored, no, how we run behind diets and exercise and what to eat and what not to eat, but nobody talks about their sleep quality, right? So if you're not able to sleep well at night, your pancreas will not get rest, your digestive system will not get rest. If they are not well rested, how will they recover themselves, right? How will they boost their health? As simple as that, but it's often overlooked, right? Now, next one is medications. Of course, some medication can really disturb with your sleeping pattern. And of course, people who have had, they are habitual of taking medicine even when it's not required. Something like antibiotics, frequent consumption of antibiotics, or painkillers. This can also really interrupt with your sleeping pattern. Yeah. Then, of course, the second thing which is often most ignored in your health is stress levels. So if your stress levels are high, no matter what you do, you'll not be able to fix your hormones, right? So stress management is another strong pillar when we talk about moving towards a healthier lifestyle or diabetes management. If you are someone who's in a high stress job, or if you are someone whose stress levels are really high because of some personal reasons, maybe that needs to be catered for first before going to a diet or before starting an exercise pattern, right? Because if you are stressed, we cannot really control your hormones. Your cortisol level, which is the stress hormone, will go high. If your cortisol levels will go high, it will disturb the activity of insulin, right? And insulin helps in controlling your blood glucose levels. Yeah. Okay, now, of course, there are few conditions also which can impact your circadian rhythm, something like dementia or any head injuries or damage, brain damage. These conditions can also impact your natural circadian rhythm, right? Moving on, So now why we are talking about this? What is the impact of circadian rhythm? Why we, made it a point to connect today and give this information to all of you? The sole factor is the long-term impact can be very, very harmful, right? So short-term impact, like if you haven't slept for a day, or if you were awake for a night because of some other reason, the short-term impact may be lack of energy, feeling very drowsy the next day, or maybe your digestion is not that good. Changes in your body temperature, you might have hot flashes or feel really cold at some point of time. But if that happens on and off, that you're not sleeping well, then that can also cause delay in wound healing. Or say, for example, if you're suffering from a viral fever, right, and you are not sleeping well throughout the night, then the recovery will also take time. Yeah? And what are the long-term impacts? So, of course, as I said, long-term impacts will have, effect on your metabolic health. And when we talk about metabolic health, it can lead to diabetes, it can lead to cardiovascular issues, it can lead to poor digestion, digestive issues, it can even lead to skin issues, right? So poor sleep quality over a long period of time will somewhere, at one point or another will affect your health. Yeah. And the effect will be that it will turn into a metabolic disease, right? Be it cardiovascular, be it high BP, be it being a diabetic or a pre-diabetic, right? So moving on, now how does circadian rhythm really is affected by the light? So as you all know, we have been seeing this habit that people say that don't use phone before bedtime, don't see TV before bedtime. Why? Because that emits blue light. Yeah. And what does blue light do? This has been very well documented in many research that it makes it difficult for us to fall asleep, right? So that's why if you consult a health coach, or if you consult your doctor also, they'll tell you that don't use your phone right before bed. Don't let your kids use iPad or tablets or phones right before you put them down for a nap, right? Because that really disturbs with the quality of sleep. Yeah. Next is white light. Now, white light, or we can say, in natural form, it's sunlight also. It has a lot of positive effects. It helps in boosting alertness. It elevates your mood also. So if you are spending at least 10 to 15 minutes outside in sunlight, that really helps in increasing your feel good hormones, which is serotonin, right? So it's absolutely necessary that, if you're feeling very dull, if you're feeling very down, just go out, maybe, nearby a park or somewhere, just spend 10 minutes in sunlight. Instantly, you will feel much, much, much better, right? Now, talking about red light. So red light, to be honest, it doesn't really have any effect on the circadian clock. We can always, put a dim red light at night, or use clocks which have those, electronic ones which have those red lights. Back in the day, the night lamps used to be of red color. Now, of course, a lot of people don't really use them, but back in the day, it used to be of red color just because of this reason only. Yeah. And yes, yellow and orange light have little to no effect. Yeah, so you can even use a very dim yellow or orange light as your night light in your room also. So talking about, of course, circadian rhythm and diabetes, as I have already mentioned that this has an impact on your insulin secretion, insulin sensitivity, and glucose uptake by muscles. So what happens is, because insulin is also a hormone, yeah. So when we say hormonal imbalances, then definitely insulin is also involved in it, right? And that is why it affects a diabetic, or it can actually put a person who has a genetic predisposition of being a diabetic at an increased rate of getting diabetes. Okay? So it really, because if you're not sleeping peacefully, if you're sleeping against your circadian rhythm, what happens is your body is not well rested. Your pancreas are working 24/7, and as a result, the beta cells which secrete insulin, they are not well rested. If they will not be well rested, if they will be working 24/7, it will lead to damage. Imagine yourself, can you work 24/7? Can you work 24 hours, 7 days a week? No. Eventually you'll give up, right? Same happens with your pancreas also. They cannot work 24/7. They need rest. Yeah. And to give them rest, you need to, make sure that you're listening to your body. You're sleeping on time, waking up on time. Right? And this will prevent in further damaging your pancreas. Yeah? Okay. So what to do now? We have now talked about what is circadian rhythm, how does it impact your metabolic health, what role it has in aggravating the diabetes, or maybe a leading cause of onset of diabetes. But then what to do, how to reset it is what we need to look into. Firstly, setting a routine is absolutely important, and I know this can be very difficult also, right? By setting a routine, this can simply mean trying to set up a bedtime and wake up time, right? In beginning, you might need to, put in alarms, or you might need help of a family member to help you wake up early in the morning and sleep on time. But then setting a routine is absolutely crucial. If your routine is very haywired, if you are not really able to sleep on time, if some days you are sleeping at 4 a.m., or if on other days you're sleeping at 8 p.m., then that is not really going to help, right? And of course, setting a routine does not mean always that, okay, sleep at 10 p.m. No, it doesn't mean that. So as per your schedule, if you can sleep at say 12 at night, so maybe then every day try and sleep on 12, not at 1, 2, or some days, right? So try and set up a routine as per your schedule, right? And stick to it, right? The second thing which we don't do nowadays, which most of us don't do nowadays, is spend time outdoors to promote wakefulness. We hardly go out. Like from our home, we might go to our office, which is always covered. There is no outdoor space, right? So this really, disturbs the hormones, right? So maybe what we need to do is wake up and then go 10 minutes outside. Just, sit under natural sunlight. That will really help in, your body in waking up, and really, boosting your energy levels too. Then, of course, get regular exercise for at least 30 minutes a day. Now, if you're exercising, that means that your body is much more active. If you're not exercising, like a lot of people work from home also. So what they do is they wake up in the morning, they'll sit at same place, they'll work at same place, and that's how their whole day ends, right? Now, this is something which is really not good for your body, because body also needs change. Yeah, you need to take your body through different energy levels also to wake it up, to get your system running around, right? So maybe 30 minutes of any activity. You can split it in 2 times also during the day, like 15 minutes walk in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. You can do a specific type of workout, be it a dance workout. You can go and play badminton, but anything which you enjoy, right? And which can be sustainable for you. Okay, apart from this, of course, sleeping in a comfortable environment. So make sure when you are, going to bed, the lights are dim. There are no blue lights coming in, and there is no noise coming in. That is also very important. Then avoiding alcohol, caffeine, and nicotine in the evening. How do we do that? Don't take tea, coffee, or alcohol after say 5 p.m. If you can restrict it to 4 p.m., that's really good, because caffeine stays in your system for 4 to 5 hours, right? So try and wind up your last cup of caffeine from to 4 to 5 p.m. by 4 to 5 p.m. Yeah? And yeah, third one is switch off electronic devices before bedtime. So maybe what we need to do is we need to change our bedtime routines. We can do reading at bedtime. We can take a warm bath at bedtime, which really helps in improving the sleep quality. Or simply what we can do is, like people who are religious, what they can do is they can even chant mantras or they can do their prayers during bedtime. That will also help. But of course, scrolling through the phones and we don't track time, and that blue light coming in will really spoil your sleep quality. Okay, so I think we are done. That was a very short and crisp session, and I think we are good to take questions now, right?
Yes, thank you, Ayushi, for such a wonderful presentation. There are a couple of questions, so I'll just quickly read them out to you. Right, so this is something I think we've touched upon in the presentation, but the question is by Miss Farhana. Any tips to get good sleep at night? So,
yeah. So, like we just discussed them, right? So you need to, of course, switch off your electronics. And then that is the first thing you need to do. The second thing you need to figure out is, okay, now that you are not using your phone or laptop, what needs to be done? Because otherwise you will feel very dull that there is nothing to do. So maybe then you pick out an activity which you like to do. Like some people, they like to read their books. Some people, they do this. There are this adult coloring books also, which really helps in calming your mind. So you can buy one of those and you can do coloring before bed. You can do a music meditation, you can do a deep breathing exercise routine. These things will help in relaxing and calming your body. Apart from that, some things which will help, which really helps in improving sleep quality is taking chamomile tea. So chamomile is again a herbal tea, and chamomile is a flower, and that flower has naturally proven to improve your sleep quality, right? You can take a warm cup of chamomile tea, sit in your bed, sip on it slowly, and it will really help. It has helped a lot of people. I have tried it with a lot of people, and maybe this is something which you can try it out. Few of the other things are, like if your dinner time is really early, the second thing you can do is have a cup of milk, right? Milk has a tryptophan naturally in it, right? And that helps in inducing sleep. If you are someone who's been avoiding milk because of the dairy issues, or if it doesn't suit you, then a handful of pistachios, which we call pista also, it also has a good amount of tryptophan, which helps in inducing sleep. So 10 to 12 pistachios at night can also help. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
thank you, Ayushi. So we have another question by Mr. Roshan. So he's asking, is green tea okay in the evening time?
So, Mr. Roshan, it's the same thing. If you know, green tea also, it's healthy, but it has a good caffeine content at the same time. So, green tea ki jagah chamomile tea, non-caffeinated herbal teas can be used, like chamomile tea, jasmine tea, blue tea. All these kind of teas can be used. But yeah, we need to understand that green tea also has caffeine in it. So the bottom line is we have to avoid caffeine late at night. Yeah.
Got it. So I actually have a question regarding the caffeine, basically, right? So many people, like you said, find it extremely difficult to give up on their cup of tea in the evening. So do you have any tips that they can follow in order to, make it much more easier on them?
So of course, it's more like a psychological thing rather than having any physical effects. But for people who are taking coffee, they can try decaffeinated coffees. For people who are taking tea, now we have decaffeinated teas also in the market. There is rubis tea, and then they can try herbal teas also, right? But again, as I said, it's more psychological. So maybe you can just shift the time of your evening tea coffee to a little early, like a early afternoon snack rather than an evening snack, right? So that can be done. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So there's another question on like high fasting sugar levels, right? This person, they go to bed quite early, like, and they also have an early dinner, but seem to have a slightly higher fasting sugar level. So in that case, what any tips that can help prevent the high fasting?
Yeah. So firstly, we need to figure out what is the reason behind high fasting levels. Only then we will take corrective action. If you are taking your dinner early, how are your post dinner levels? If post dinner levels are in range but still fasting levels are high, then early dinner might not be helping you. Try and include a bedtime snack. right? Because what happens is, for some people, when they fast for a longer period of time, then somewhere in middle of the night, the body starts releasing glucose out, which is stored in the liver, right? And that causes a spike. So what you need to do is firstly check your post dinner levels. If post dinner levels are high, we need to fix it. If post dinner levels are low and fasting is high, include a bedtime snack. It can be a handful of nuts. And lastly, check on your sleep quality. See if you are sleeping well throughout the night. If you are not sleeping well, if you are not getting like good 6 to 7 hours or 8 hours of sleep on an average, that could be another reason behind high fasting levels, because in the morning then your stress hormones can really rush up.
Good. Thank you, Ayushi. So there's another question by Miss Farhana, right? So she's saying at times after meals, her stomach feels heavy, but she eats in lesser quantities only. So what could be the reason for this? And she's asking any advice you have in order to prevent this.
So here we need to understand, what does feeling heavy means. Is it bloating? Is it any digestion discomfort? What is it exactly, right? If your stomach feels heavy, then that simply means that even if you're eating less, there might be something in the food which is not suiting you, right? It might be causing digestion issues, and that's why the feeling of heaviness comes in, right? So we might need to, deep dive into this and see what are the components of your meals. Like I have had people who eats cauliflower, who eats chana, and that's when they feel really heavy and bloated, right? So we need to understand whether it is bloating, or you're feeling heavy or feeling drowsy after eating. That could be because of high sugar levels, and then take a corrective action on it. Few things which you can do to feel better about it is, follow meal sequencing, which means that you eat the salad first, you eat the fibers first. So what are the fibers? Fiber is salad, or any cooked vegetables, or vegetables in any form, or you have a glass of chia seed water, and then you move on to your proteins and eat the carbohydrates at last. That can help you in improving your digestion.
Got it, Ayushi. There's another question by Mr. Joy Dev, right? So he has worked on waking up at 2 a.m. for meditating gradually, 2 to 5 a.m. And he starts from 4 to 5 as suggested by Brahma Kumaris. That really helped in his stress reduction. So he's asking, does waking up at this time, does it impact the circadian rhythm?
Of course it does. Like 2 a.m. is a time wherein your body should be in deep sleep, like 2 to 3 a.m. We get our deep sleep during this time if you have been someone who's monitoring your sleep through a smartwatch, right? So of course this can impact circadian rhythm. There are a lot of meditation practices which start really early in the morning, like 5 a.m. or maybe 4 a.m. So then you need to, of course, 2 a.m. is something which is not good, definitely. But if you're starting at 5 a.m., that is still okay. That is good for you. Your meditation practice can start at 5 a.m. So this can, of course, impact your circadian rhythm. We need to monitor your sleep quality. And then probably, you can just align the times of your meditation better. Yeah.
Got it. Hope that answered your question, sir. So we have another question. Right, this is it's not a question, basically, he's just stating something. Ravi Shankar, sir, he's saying information bombardment is an issue. Some say avoid dairy, avoid easy carbs if you are a diabetic, eat many meals. Some of them say eat only 2 meals or 1 meal a day. So everything is extremely confusing, right? So do you have any suggestion that you want to give him, because like he said, there is a lot of information
Yeah.
available.
I know. And one can go crazy about it, the type of information available. Someone will say that, okay, do intermittent. Someone will say do keto. Someone will say, okay, don't eat carbs at all. So I feel you totally that, of course, it is crazy out there. But what I think works is that every person is different, right? We say that avoid dairy. I've had people who have come from different programs and they have avoided dairy. But when we put them on a dairy, like, maybe a katori of curd, say, we start with that, that has not impacted their sugar levels at all, right? So what I'm trying to say here is, each and every person is unique, and the things that work for them will also be unique. But something like eating only 2 times in a day, that might not be a sustainable thing, right? So what you need to do is you need to stick to the habits and form such healthy habits which are sustainable, which you can see yourself doing for rest of your life, right? If they are not sustainable, that's just a fad, just stay away from it. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So there's another question by Mr. Joydev. He's saying, okay, they say 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. and 8 to 9 hours of uninterrupted sleep at night is vital for growth hormone. Is this, true?
Again, as I said, 8 to 9 hours, it's like a good sleep duration, right? So of course, sleeping somewhere around 8 hours is good and it's absolutely necessary, right? But at the same time, depends from person to person. And we have seen that people who have been sleeping 6 hours, but their deep sleep quality is good, wherein out of 6 hours, 2, 3 hours is deep sleep quality. Their sleep is absolutely perfect, right? On the other hand, women might need, with hormonal imbalances, might need a longer sleep duration. So it's not like a hard and fast rule that we say 9 hours sleep is absolutely mandatory, right? So yeah.
Okay, got it. So there is another question. This is somewhat related to sleep and protein, right? So Ravi Shankar Singh is saying after getting up, generally, um, if you're sleepy, does that mean you're not taking enough protein?
Oh no, that has no connection to your sleep, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So, okay, got it. So we have another question, which is by Mr. Joydev again. So he's asking if we feel heavy, right, should we take prebiotics?
So I think I answered this right just now also. I think Miss Farhana was the one who asked that she feels heavy after a meal. So prebiotics, what are prebiotics? They are simply fibers, right? So you should always take fiber in your meal. If you are feeling heavy, that means your fiber intake is very low. So eat vegetables, I would say half of your plate should be vegetables. If you're feeling heavy, eat vegetables first and then go and eat your roti, rice, dal, whatever is there on your plate. This will really help in boosting up your digestion. So yes, including prebiotics is a good idea, and you should do it in a natural way. Yeah.
Got it. So there's another question by Miss Ritu, right? So she has type 1 diabetes, right? And she has a lot of muscle loss, and she also, has lost her strength. So do you have any suggestion for her in order to build up more muscle, or to anyone who's looking to build muscle mass? Do you have any suggestion for them?
So specifically, Ms. Ritu, in type 1 diabetes, we need very thorough monitoring. If you're having muscle loss, that means there are huge fluctuations in your sugar levels and your sugar levels are not stable, right? So firstly, keep a thorough check on your sugar levels. Check your sugar levels 3 to 4 times in a day and work on the times when your sugar levels are really going beyond 200, right? You need to fix that, because when your levels go such high as 200, body starts using its own muscle mass to utilize energy, right? So firstly, check your sugar levels. Secondly, include proteins and fiber in every meal. And lastly, what I would suggest you is get a coach which can really monitor your sugar levels closely and then customize a diet plan and a lifestyle routine for you, because it can be very challenging for a type 1 diabetic, and we need to look into your current glucose levels in order to suggest you a proper plan here.
Got it. I think we'll just move on to the next question, Ayushi. So this is again, in relation to circadian rhythm and sleep, right? So they're asking, is there a, correct time to go to bed and correct time to wake up?
Yeah, so if we are going to define this now, then it's going to get very difficult for each and everyone, because my routine is different and you all will have different routines, right? But all we are trying to say here is that don't go to bed too late at night, and what too late is somewhere around, say, after 12 at night. So 1 a.m., 2 a.m., this is not something you should be doing, right? So the sleeping time should be anywhere, before 12 at night, and the wake up time should be anywhere, when you are getting 7 to 8 hours of sound sleep. So maybe 7, 8 for some people, right? The idea is to maintain a routine, right? So if your working hours are such that you go to bed at 11 these days, maybe try and go to bed at 11 on all days, and then wake up at around 7. That will help, but we cannot define a perfect time for everyone to sleep in and to wake up. This also needs customization because we cannot be too rigid on it.
Okay, got it. So Ayushi, there's another question, right? So like you had mentioned regarding the exercise, right? So daily exercise. So is there any exercise which is better than the other? So this person has heard that yoga is better, and he does walking basically for about 30 minutes each day. Is that enough, or should he also do some other exercise along with walking?
See, talking about exercise, of course, someone will say that do only yoga, don't do strength training, don't go to gym. Or someone will just say that, okay, you can just, do basic walking. So when we talk about exercises, any exercise for at least 60 minutes in a day can work for you. Be it walking, be it yoga. If you're doing 30 minutes of walk, I would advise you that you either do, you can do yoga, or maybe you can include some other form of activity. Like we can even do strength training here. Yeah. So a combination of exercises is good. For diabetic, strength training is actually very beneficial because it helps in, retaining your muscle mass, which in turns improve your glucose levels, right? So any activity of 60 minutes is okay. Do it as per your schedule. Do it as as it suits you. The activity that you enjoy, you should do that more often. There is no hard and fast rule. But yes, we have seen that somewhere along the line, when people start doing very high intensity workouts, like there are these aerobics classes, Zumba classes, which are very high intensity, that can negatively also affect glucose levels. It can really cause massive spikes in your glucose levels. So maybe if you're doing walking, check your levels before walking and after walking, and you should see a better level when you come back from a walk. And maybe that is what you can continue in the evening also. 30 minutes walk in the evening, 30 minutes walk in the morning, that can be done. Or if you think you can do yoga for say rest of your life, then you can stick to yoga, right? So no hard and fast rule, to summarize.
Got it. So there's another question, Ayushi, which is quite interesting, right? So they're asking, can I alter my circadian rhythm to my advantage? And if yes, how can I do that?
The circadian rhythm, as I mentioned in my first line only, it's body's natural clock. So if you're altering it, you are going against your body's natural clock, and it will not have any advantage, to be honest. Otherwise, why would we talk about people working in night shift and sleeping throughout the day? That is not helping, because it is something which is totally against nature. So no, you cannot alter it. This is something which which is very natural, and we cannot really alter and get advantage from it.
Okay, got it. There's another question by Mr. Ravi Shankar, right? So he's mentioned his sugar level. So after breakfast, it is around 120. After lunch, it is 170. And after dinner, it is 160. And his HbA1c is around 7.3. He's 65 years old, and he's asking how are his parameters and what should he do in order to reduce his HbA1c to 5.5.
Okay, so parameter 7.3 is decent, but it could be better, right? The problem area is definitely your lunch and dinner, sir. Breakfast 120 hai, and then lunch and dinner 160, 170, which is very high. It will cause glucose toxicity, right? So what we should target is that after lunch, after dinner, your level should not go beyond 140 maximum. And beyond 140 also, in the sense that if you keep a target of 140, you will reach 6.5, 6.2, 6.3 somewhere, right? If you want to achieve 5.5, then your PP levels of lunch and dinner should also be 120, right? And how to achieve that? For that, of course, we need to, of course, there are no generic tips, I would say, because sir, your routine will be different. and someone else's routine will be different. So maybe that's where you need guidance and support, right? And that's when you can come to us, or you can just approach us, and we can maybe help you with the one-on-one conversation also. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Ayushi. So, okay, we have a lot more questions. Let me just take them up one by one.
Okay,
Right.
I'll just take a water break.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is again in relation to like muscle building and everything. So Rituma was asking, do I need to go to the gym in order to build muscle? And there's another question, like, is there any like age restriction in order for you to do like strength training? Like if you're older, does it mean that you cannot do strength training?
Absolutely not. Like you can do strength training at any age. Like we have had 80-year-olds with us also, and we have put them on a strength training. But of course, it's not necessary to go to gym. Yeah. What is necessary is you need to start it with the, I would say, within guidance of someone, either a trainer or a professional, right? So if you want to do strength training, you can do a basic strength training workout also. Like on YouTube also, we have a lot of workouts. We have cult workouts, we have sugar fit workouts also. You can just type strength training workouts, and you will get the intermediate, beginner level, all those things that you can start at home. And strength training doesn't mean that you have to go into the gym, pick up those heavy weights and bulk up. That is not what strength training means. Strength training means working on your muscle mass, making your muscles stronger, right? That you can do while sitting at home also, but of course someone needs to guide you if you are just a beginner.
Got it. So there's another question by Mr. Dignesh, right? So he has shift duty. So every 2 days, his shift changes. So the last 15 to 17 years, he's been working, and he has diabetes from the last 5 years. So he's asking, please guide me what to do to reduce my sugar levels and his sleep cycle.
Please change your shift timings, I would say, right? Because what I have seen is these multiple shifts throughout the week. It's like you cannot really set a routine for yourself, be it for eating, be it for sleeping. And the first thing you need to do in diabetes management, sir, is to maintain a routine. So this job might not be worth that much, because it is really taking a toll on your health. And you can give this, like nowadays companies are there very understanding. If you tell them that okay, you have diabetes, and this is not really something which is good for your health, they are very flexible with you. So but yes, I know it might not be possible, but this is one change which you should be doing ideally. But because otherwise, no matter what type of diet we do, no matter what type of exercise we do, if you not have a routine, things will not really work out.
Got it. So we have another question about exercise again from Mr. Yogesh. So he is 74. He's asking how many steps is okay for me. And besides, he's also doing other exercises like soleus and nitric oxide exercises. He's also asking, how can I improve my muscle mass?
Okay, so sir, firstly, the step count needs to be, charted down based on your BMI. How much is your weight? How much is your height? Are you overweight? Are you obese? Based on that, we need to see your activity pattern and decide how much activity your body needs in a day. And how to increase muscle mass? You are already doing nitric oxide dump, you're doing soleus also, soleus push-ups also. Nitric oxide dump is a great exercise, but it is something which is a very quick exercise. Maybe what you can do additionally apart from these things is 3 days a week, start a strength training routine, a very simple strength training routine for senior citizens. We have a lot of videos out there on YouTube also. So do strength training for senior citizens, search through that, and you can just start a basic 20 minutes routine 3 times a week.
Okay, got it. So there are more questions, Aisha. I'll just read them out to you, right? So one is by Mr. Joydev. He's asking, how can I revive my nerves disorder or eyesight that may be due to long years of being pre-diabetes? Is circadian rhythm involved in that? Will it help out with that?
So circadian rhythm will not be directly involved in that, as in, it will not directly impact your retinopathy or nephropathy or neuropathy as such, right? These are the long-term complications of poorly managed glucose levels. If your glucose levels are not managed for say 10 years, 8 years, then only your eyesight is impacted. Then only your nerves are impacted, wherein you feel burning sensation in your feet, in your fingers and all these things, right? So circadian rhythm might be involved in regulating your glucose levels, and uncontrolled glucose levels for a long period of time leads to diabetic complications. So one thing is the burning sensation that you might be feeling can be improved by controlling your sugar levels. But if you have had, we need to assess the retinopathy condition, how much damage has been done to your eyes, because at some point it can be reversible, but if it goes beyond that point, it is totally irreversible. Right? Yeah.
Got it. So we just have a couple more questions. So the next one is, okay, by Mr. Sanjay Prakash. He's asking, are homeopathic medicines effective for diabetes?
Okay. I'll answer this. I would say not really. Why? Because if you're not fixing up your schedule, if you're not fixing up your lifestyle, no matter how much homeopathy, no matter how much Ayurvedic or allopathic medicine you take, it will not work. So the bottom line is you have to develop a routine. You have to develop a healthy lifestyle that will work. That will even get you off all these alternative therapies, homeopathy, Ayurvedic. कुछ किसी चीज की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. It's just as simple as fixing your routine, fixing your eating pattern, and your activity pattern.
Got it. So we just have the last two questions to go. So this is again another question, right? So they're saying that checking temperature levels, I read somewhere. Okay, so by checking temperature levels, they have read somewhere that we can find our own circadian rhythm and we have to set our routine accordingly. Is this true?
So this is not a very, I would say, well versed or well established method, right? You can do that, but that you can actually just work on setting up a routine that will also work. Why to make things more complicated, like checking your temperatures 10 times in a day? So I don't think it is worth our efforts and energy. You can just simply set up a routine, see how your energy levels are, and work accordingly.
Got it. So this is another question. So this person is a Sugarfit member, and okay, both of his hands have orthopedic issues, and left elbow was dislocated 6 months ago, and also he has a shoulder ligament that is torn from the last 2 years. So he's asking, which exercise can I do to build muscle? He's 47 years old.
So for that, sir, we would need help of a professional fitness coach, because we need to analyze the extent of your injuries here, right? And then accordingly customize a fitness plan for you. Now you are, again, as you are a Sugarfit customer already, we do live sessions also. We do live workout sessions also with the trainer. Himanshu is there. So maybe you can join one of those sessions. You can ask your doubts and queries with Himanshu one-on-one, or your coach can help you. Your coach can connect our fitness trainers and develop a customized fitness plan for you. Right? That can be done. But firstly, we need to analyze the extent of your injuries and then probably take help of a professional fitness coach in customizing a plan for you. Yeah. And see that will give us a clarity how much weight can you lift, can you do simple body weight exercises or not.
Got it. So I have this one last question, right? So this is again by Mr. Ravi Shankar. So he's saying that only 50% of our stomach, we should eat only to fill that much. We are largely violating this by all standards. So he's asking, is less eating, is that healthier? Like eating that much is
Ah,
healthy?
so yeah. So as I said, there are a lot of tips and tricks available. Okay, eat less or eat only you feel half full, right? But eating less is never the solution. Eating right is the solution here, right? So I'll give you one very basic example. Like if you are someone who's eating like one katori of sabzi and three chapatis, that is not a very well balanced meal, right? At the same time, if you are eating a bowl of salad, a bowl of curd, maybe some dal, and then you are eating, say, one or two chapatis along, you'll feel full. Like it's not like you will feel full only after eating three chapatis. If you're eating curd, dal, salad, sabzi, you will feel full, right? But at the same time, your meal will be perfectly balanced. Yeah? Okay. So it's not about eating less, rather, it's about eating right. And the simple rule is fill half of your plate with vegetables, one fourth with protein, and the remaining one fourth with carbohydrate, be it rice, roti, or any other carbohydrate source. And also, what I would like to tell you all is there is no one magical thing or ingredient, or there is no one magical therapy that will help you in controlling your diabetes. Some people, they really focus on, okay, they'll eat methi, or they'll start with this supplement, they'll start with ayurvedic thing or homeopathy thing, and it will help in controlling their diabetes. But no, the bottom line is the only thing that will work is fixing up your schedule, be it your eating pattern, workout, your sleep, and your stress levels. Only these four things can help you in managing your sugar levels. So there are no shortcuts, there is no magical trick, or there is no magical technique that will really help in reversing your diabetes without focusing on your diet and your lifestyle, basically.
Ayushi, there's one last question by Mr. Jignesh, right? So he had the shift work and he's already a part of the Sugarfit program. And he's saying it's not possible to change the job timings and everything. So he's asking, even then, is it not possible to reverse his diabetes?
No, I'm not saying that it's not possible to reverse your diabetes, right? All I'm saying is for you to for your metabolic health, it's good that you get into a job which has regular shifts, because then your routine will be more aligned. But at the same time, if it's not absolutely possible, then what we can do is, of course, we can monitor your routine. We can see if working on a different shift also, if you are sleeping well, and then you're waking up, when you're waking up you are feeling energetic and not tired, right? So the bottom line, what we can do is, we still need to give rest to your body, Mr. Jignesh, right? So if your body is well rested for 7-8 hours, and then your meals are also well balanced, there is a high chance that you will reverse your diabetes. You will get your diabetes to your HbA1c levels to 6.5 or even less than that, right? But in order to maintain a good metabolic health, it's always nice to develop a routine. And yeah, if your changing shift timings are not affecting your sleep, then maybe there is a chance.
Got it. That was all the questions. Thank you so much, Ayushi, for answering all of them so patiently, and to all the people in the, who joined in for answering asking all your questions. They were such great questions as well. I think it, was helpful to everyone who has joined in. And again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and Ayushi also for, spending your time here and educating people on circadian rhythm. I think it was such a wonderful session, and a lot of information, was given here. So thank you so much, Ayushi.
Thank you. Thank you, Shifa, and thank you everyone for joining in. And we'll try and do more such sessions in future, because I like that it is so interactive. And maybe, Shifa, we need to do something on strength training and muscle, gaining also, because a lot of questions were based on that today. Yeah. So
Right.
that
Right.
is
Definitely.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Aishi. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.